Sign up to the SBR Network and use your free daily bet points to earn real-world prizes. Click on the page and start winning now. Hi, welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. This is our regular MLB call that we do every week with Doug Upstone. Today is Thursday, May 22nd, and now we're going to take another look at the American League divisions. We first previewed them 3 weeks ago. Now we're going to update our thoughts and opinions for possible value going forward. Doug, thanks for being back with us.
Hey, Peter, my pleasure to be back once again here. We got the big Memorial Day weekend coming ahead, so yeah, a lot of festivities and things to do.
All right, sounds great. The AL East is what we'll start with, and in our last call, we only really made one main prediction to AL East. We said continued overs with Toronto, and since that call, they went 8-7 over/under, so that was basically even, slightly profitable. Again, the AL East was one of these divisions that was very unprofitable in our last call, but Toronto notably has gotten a lot better. They're actually a plus 30% ROI in May, and that is number one in all of baseball. So now they're about plus 5% overall, and I felt like I sort of saw that coming along with their overs. Their offense is very productive, and when it starts getting hot, they're going to start winning games. And Baltimore continues to be profitable. You know, in our last call, I noted how they were very profitable on the year. I said, what do you think? Will they continue to be profitable? You said 50-50 at best, but since that call, they did go 8-7, which is not that great a record, but because they're not very inflated in terms of odds, plus 11% ROI since that call. So I guess my first question is, what's up with Baltimore? You think they're going to continue to be valuable?
You know, I don't. I'm still going to go the other way on this, Peter, and a couple different reasons. I still think that they're, kind of getting by with a little bit of luck, being 10-5 and one-run games to this point of the season. So I think that, again, Buck Showalter deserves some credit for that. But the thing that I'm with this team that I'm looking at and looking ahead is their schedule. And they have a long road trip, parts of a long road trip where they're going to go to Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, Houston, and Texas. Now, in this case, Milwaukee, of course, is the strongest team of that group, but Pittsburgh and Houston are I still think, somewhat underperforming. Mm-hmm. So that could be a tough task. And then plus, when they return home, they're going to end up playing in improving Cleveland, Oakland, Boston, and Toronto. Mm-hmm. So that could be a tough trip. So if in the next 3 weeks they're in the same position they are today, you know what? Then maybe definitely I'll have to readjust my thinking about this team. And then they'll have to say they really looks like to be a contender in the East for the whole season.
All right. Well, interesting insights, but I have to take issue with one of those series that you said is going to be a tough schedule. Tough series on their schedule. Boston has been a terrible bet on the year. Right now, they're number 27th in all of baseball in terms of money standings. They're minus 20% ROI overall and minus 30% ROI in May. So clearly, they've been a great bet against. And I've personally been betting Toronto in their series recently, and I have them today again. Toronto's plus 143. Do you think Boston is a good fade going forward?
Yeah, there's points of to with how they're playing. Yeah, I can certainly agree with that. I thought in our last call that I thought that they would improve, and they certainly have not. That doesn't mean they can't turn things around. I mean, the talent is still there for them to turn things around, both on offense and especially with their pitching. It's just a matter of, do they? And, to this point, I certainly can't disagree. I mean, they're not playing up to their capabilities. They definitely do not look like a team, they look like a team that got hot and won the World Series last year. So, yeah, there's some problems there. But are they a threat? Oh, boy, I still think they're a threat.
Okay, well, but I just think from a betting perspective, even if they do start playing better, more up to their potential or their capabilities, as you say, Boston's just not the kind of team that tends to be undervalued. Even if they start playing better, they might still be overvalued.
Oh, you're right. I mean, there's no question. I mean, they're a public team, so I mean, they're still going to find spreads, and until they really, unless they literally fall off the table, they're still going to be overvalued. I definitely agree with you on that point.
All right, and then what's your take on Tampa Bay? Tampa Bay should not be that bad of a team, right? They have some decent hitters in their lineup. They usually have pretty good bullpen, and their starting pitching has some good names in it, but they are currently dead last in Major League Baseball in terms of the ROI money standings. Number 30 in Major League Baseball, minus 25% ROI overall, minus 22% in May. That's got to improve, right?
If it does, it'll improve slightly, or it'll at least hold its own. But I don't see it getting better. Let's put it that way. This, they do have some brand names, okay, like Longoria, in their lineup. But overall, it isn't really a very good lineup. On their pitching staff, we talked about before, it was decimated in the spring, losing different pitchers. Alex Cobb is, just coming back now off the disabled list. We'll see what he adds. And David Price continues to struggle, not having the big fastball like he had a few seasons ago. And teams are sitting on his off-speed stuff more and more frequently, and he's getting hit harder. I think Tampa Bay, in this case, I'm fairly certain they're going to end up making a trade of David Price at some point in the future, which will just further devalue what they actually have. So if Tampa Bay finishes last in that division, that is not going to be a surprise to me. And ultimately, I could see this team being minus 15 to minus 20 units on the season.
All right, and then let's just go back to talking about Toronto. In our last call, we said that we thought that Toronto overs might continue to have value, and that basically was the case. And I think that's something that we can forecast going forward as well. Toronto has really started to play well. Again, they are number one in Major League Baseball in terms of ROI in May at plus 30%. They're now plus 5% overall. You think Toronto continues to be a good bet and continues to see an overtrend?
Yes, I definitely do. And for the reasons that you said, the hitting looks like it's going to continue. Obviously, there's going to be a few dead spots as they go along the road. But essentially, over the next 3 weeks, I think there's every reason to believe that they will continue to hit. Another factor, even though they're not great so far at home with a 10-11 record, after this weekend series, they're going to play 16 of their next 19 games at Rogers Center. So a really good opportunity to get really comfortable at home and start pounding out some hits and some wins. And to your point on the overs, that bullpen still stinks, Peter. Yeah. So that being the case, there's going to be an opportunity. They might build up some, 6-2, 6-3 leads or whatever they end up being. And the bullpen will probably end up giving away a couple of runs to send those potential over games to definitely overs.
So looking ahead to the next 3 weeks, what are we going to forecast here from the AL East? We're going to forecast more overs from Toronto, and we're going to forecast more negative ROI from Tampa Bay.
Yes, and I honestly believe that Baltimore will have, in terms of the return on investment, I think they're going to end up being a poorer bet, not hugely negative, but poor based on their schedule.
But you think that they'll be overall negative in terms of ROI these next few weeks?
That is correct. I do.
Wow.
Over the next 3 weeks, I definitely do. When we have this call in 3 weeks again, I'll stand by my word. I think Baltimore will be in worse shape then than they are today.
All right. Pretty bold prediction there. And then Boston, any predictions for Boston, or leave them alone?
I would leave them and the Yankees alone. Yes.
Okay. Thanks so much. Now let's move on to the AL Central.